All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Valentine's Day Eve, I guess you could call it. Welcome. I'm your host and pilot, Uncle B. Good to be back. Just for today, well, at least for me, flying for today. I'll be in mixed streams throughout the week, doing a bunch of different stuff. But for today, we are flying. Oh, let me change. Let's double check a few things while we're here. And of course, it did change again. I don't know why it keeps kicking me off of that server. Let's change the weather to just a few clouds. And then I am going to snack a little bit and have kind of get myself sorted here. Feel like I'm running a little bit behind this morning. This cold weather is just kicking my butt. My elbow has just been screaming at me because it doesn't like the cold, and no matter what medicine I take or what I try to do, it's just trying to grin and bear it. Oh, I know what else I got to do. Pardon me if you pop in and say hello. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just getting a few things set up here so that we are ready to go. Yep. Okay. UNHLV COU. Zero. All right. There is that. Save for our Nightbot command. So here's our route. And we did double check we are on the right server. Morning, Joseph. So basically, here's what we got going on. We're going to take off from Peoria here in Illinois. We're going to go fly out just a bit past the ILS marker there. And we're going to turn, hang a left, and head on down to our Vortac here, our first of two. Quite a bit of distance on this one. We have 88 nautical miles to UIN here. And then we're going to head to our second Vortac at HLV. That is 59 nautical miles. And then from here, it's like just less than 20 nautical miles. So hopefully, although there's a bunch of small airports here in this area, so I kind of feel like we're going to have to get very close before we can talk to Columbia Regional here in Missouri. So, but we'll make it. It says 2 hours and 9 minutes. I think we'll get there a lot quicker than we would otherwise. So I think we'll be okay time wise. We've got all of our information set. I've got it all. Got everything. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll sit tight here for a little bit. I'm gonna kind of get myself sorted and take my meds so that my arm lasts the entire flight and throughout the morning. Uh, so um, so I'm gonna kind of mute myself while I get myself sorted. So but we'll get in the air here before we know it, and we'll be on our way. Also, once we're in the air on our way to our first navigation aid there, UIN, Uniform India November, we will have story time. We will not be talking about the Super Bowl. Don't care. Not a big fan anymore. Used to watch a lot of football, but not anymore. So, but if you enjoyed the game last night, good for you. Hopefully you did. If you partook in the festivities of the Super Bowl, kudos to you. But I already know who won. If it's your team, congratulations. If it's not your team, I'm sorry for you. It sucks. I know that feeling. But from what I saw, it was a close one, but that's as far as I'm going to go. I still think the refs found. I'm positive there was at least one or two plays, even though I didn't watch it. I am positive, based on the amount of screaming around the apartment complex, that there was some very questionable calls by the refs that probably pissed off a lot of people again, and they're going to go to work Monday pissed off at the NFL. But anyway, let me finish getting myself sorted here. All right, there we go. At least I got a little bit going now. Got my pain meds in me. We'll get going here in a minute. Uh, we'll get in the air and have a story time, and then we'll wrap things up. I think later today, about 1 o'clock by time, unless something changes, I will be on the farm with Mick. Uh, hopefully it's not as uh, insane as it was last week. Um, yeah, things got a little heated on that particular stream, but we won't get into that. It's what it is. What it is. Uh, things. Anyway, so there's that. So yeah, and then I think yeah, Wednesday we're gonna do the next leg of the Iron Maiden tour. We're gonna go from Finland to Norway in the the Iron Maiden livery A320, taking Bruce and the band on their European tour. If you missed it, Mick did a fantastic job landing in Norway at night manually. Did use the ILS. There was no ILS approach, but he nailed it. He nailed it. If you haven't seen it, go all the way to the end of that flight to Norway from Prague. He nailed it. So, uh, all right, about 4 more minutes and we'll get started here. Oh, I just realized that while we're finishing up, waiting on the time. Nope, that's already set, not that. There we go. Get a little weight in the plane. And we'll put a little bit of fuel in there. I think that'll be sufficient. So, yeah, we're gonna do that. We got him and I have been talking. We got some other things that we're gonna do uh, here, and then yeah, so good stuff coming around, good stuff happening, and yeah. Let's see what else. Hopefully, tomorrow I get the staples out. I was supposed to get them out last week, but apparently the PA was kind of like, somebody didn't do the math correctly. I said this many weeks, and they brought you in early. But I've got a temporary cast now, or sling, or split, not cast, temporary splint. That is made of plastic, that malleable plastic, and you just warm it up with hot water, and they can kind of shape it the way they want to, and then they put it on your arm and they check it to see the fit, and they're like, okay, we can cut it down a little bit more here and there and stuff like that. So tomorrow morning I get the staples out. Not, fingers crossed that something hasn't happened that I can't see, because they did put a bandage back over the stitches or the staples, and then I've got this compression sleeve that I'm wearing, and then a compression glove for my hand to help keep the swelling down on my hand while I heal. And then Wednesday I go back for my first physical therapy appointment, and so hopefully things are still looking good, and I'm on the mend and all that good stuff. And so yeah, it's I hope I never do this to myself again. This was just, it sucks having only one good hand technically, and trying to do everything with one good hand, and it's not your dominant hand. That is, it is not fun at all. So anyway, all right, let's go ahead and spawn in here. I think we're close enough to the time. Yeah, and we'll get everything dialed in. And I do want to say thank you, Marco52, for the follow a couple days ago. Scruffy gave me a shout out in his stream, and Marco followed me. Marco is a fellow veteran. Watch him. He did an amazing flight. I didn't get to watch all of it because I took my meds and started to fall asleep. But did an amazing flight in France, finding these chalets, I guess. He's really in an Airbus helicopter. So yeah, it was really neat. It's a really neat chopper. He's on the PC side of things, and so I don't have that helicopter, and I still gotta learn how to. There's so many things that, because of this injury that I've had to kind of put to the yeah, I think that'll work. Put to the wayside while I recover. So that, taxi light off, the wing lights off. Let's get the first. DME, and we're going on frequency of 11360. So yeah, he's I gotta get some more shout out stuff going in over on my Nightbot. Hello, Leon. Hello, Omela. Thanks for the first time chat, Leon. How are you? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the chat. I'm your host and pilot, Uncle B. We are in the Junkers 52 3M retrofit, departing here shortly from Peoria, Illinois, heading to Columbia, Missouri. Just making sure I have everything set the way I want it. We will get in the air momentarily. I don't have I don't have icing on. There's little things that I try to do to develop some good habits but anyway, there's that. And I think that's it. This will do. Right. Let's go. So welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and get in the air and get on our way. So here we go. Away we go. Jeez. Why did my it seemed like my co-pilot did not answer back. Somehow that got turned off. Alright, let's go ahead and start turning here. I think we're not far away from here. We got off the center line there. Yes, Amela, I had turkey sandwiches last night for dinner. It's just something simple because I can't. Cooking right now is a bit of a task. Like I can't, like if I want a can of soup, I can't open it with a can opener. If it's a pop top thing, it's not very simple for me to do with a bum arm. It's so I'm just trying to eat simple things to at least have something in my stomach. Yeah, it's not fun at all. So you squat 235. Why do I gotta squat? Why don't you squat? Yeah, see, like even if I order something to drink with pizza, for instance, trying to open up that, say I have a 2 liter thing of cola, it's a challenge to open that thing and pour it with only one good hand. I have to try to balance it. It's just like it's like learning how to live all over again, and it sucks. Alright, 84 nautical miles to our first navigation aid. Back on the track here. Continue climbing. So yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, but thank you for the follow, Leon. I think maybe somebody resubbed. Oh, there he is. There's the man, the myth, the legend. Mick resubbed for on Prime, 9 months. Seems like it's been a lot longer than that. I don't know. I don't know why it's only saying 9 months. It seems like it's been a lot longer than 9 months. So, but thank you, good sir. Nice to see you here as always. Mick was the first when I started the channel. He was the first subscriber. Once I made affiliate, he was amongst the first people to sub and give me a little bit of his hard-earned British sterling. Appreciate it. Nice to see you here. Alright, I think we can go ahead and get the flaps up. Get that throttle a little bit. Clean our fixture a little bit. Hello, Bex. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Nice to see everybody here. Thank you for the oh, and 100 bits too. Thank you, Nick. You're a scholar and a scholar. Don't care what anybody says. All right, so we're now officially on our way to Columbia, Missouri. Little regional airport. Took me a bit of time to find this thing. Trying to make sure we are hitting all of the states as we head back towards East Coast. So sometimes we're not flying exactly east, we're flying a bit to the south, southwest. So anyway, story time. Some things have happened, some things have been brought to my attention that made me think of my time at the community college that I went to school at here, not far from where I live. And when I first started going to school there, I kind of blended in. I dressed like everybody else. I didn't stand out. And part of it was because I was like 580 years older than the rest of the students. It was not an easy situation for me because everybody was significantly younger than me. I had nothing hardly in common with them, and so but I just kind of blended in. Now I'm a big believer. I'd like to do little what I call social experiments to see if changing something changes how people interact with me. And so here's what I did. I think it was after my first semester. I barely got through that because I was thinking about trying to apply to nursing school after my experiences as a medic in the Army. I was working at the hospital at the time on the oncology floor as an aide. Uh, didn't particularly care too much for how the nurses were treating me, even though I had probably as much as knowledge as they had, maybe even more so. But they didn't. They were like, it doesn't matter if you don't have a degree. We're not going to respect you, right? So, so when I ended up changing my major and all that, I eventually I said, let me just see what happens if I start to wear a nice shirt and tie and nice pants and dress shoes, and if I look like presentable, right? And I'll tell you, it changed everything in a way that like it it suddenly it was like I was a different person, right? And um, so a lot of people assumed that I was not a student. They thought I was a teacher there at the school. So like when I would go through the cafeteria, oh, employee discount. So I would get, you know, uh, I wouldn't pay full price for my breakfast in the morning. I could, I'd get a small discount or whatever. And I didn't say, oh no no no. I'm just like, hey, if you think I'm faculty, I'm telling you, and I'll get a discount. I'm gonna go ahead and not say it as, yep. And they didn't ever ask for an ID or anything, right? But that wasn't the whole, like that was just one of the perks of changing something minor like how I dressed. And so when uh but it's interesting that people would come to me, they wouldn't go directly to like my department chair for if they had a question or whatever. Sometimes they would come to me and say, and what I did was I would try to sort it out. Like if it was something that was due, it, with their student account, I can't answer those questions because I don't have access to that information. But I could, if they were lost and they didn't know where to go, I could direct them in that respect. I've always been, I observe people's behavior, right? And I see what they do, and then that gives me another idea for a social experiment to see if my uh, theory is correct. When I took a biology class, they broke down the whole, you have a theory about this, and then you do your experiments to confirm that theory, or you find out your theory was a bunch of nonsense kind of thing, right? And I with that, because I became this person that people had, when they had problems, they would come to me and say, well, and I'm a firm believer in the idea of if you are having a problem of some kind, whatever it may be, right? That if you say, hey, I really need help, and if I can do something or whatever it is, oh, I need to turn my get a picture too. Whatever it is, if you really, you're like, hey, I'm really lost here. I don't know what to do. I'll be happy to help anybody out. But one of the things I did also learn is people ask for help, but they're not asking you to help guide them. They're asking you to do the work for them. When I was working in the dark room on the weekends at the community college, which is, that was my foot in the door working there. My photography teacher knew I was miserable at the hospital, and she said, why don't you come work on campus? And I was like, doing what? I wasn't thinking about working in the dark room. I thought she would say, well, we can get you on the, picking up trash and stuff like that. No, she's like, I'll get you in the dark room and it'll be fine. And I was like, oh, okay, sure. And so I, but students would come in and they wouldn't pay attention to class, and it was like I was trying to teach them what the professor was trying to teach them, even though I wasn't qualified to do that, right? And I learned very quickly that some people would the expectation was that I would do the work for them, not that I would, you know, kind of help, just help them sift through their notes, because they didn't even take notes properly on what they were supposed to do. Oh, let's see. Oh, looks like the ads are going right now. I'm gonna take a quick photo here. Because I do use these for the when I upload the video over on YouTube. There we go. I hope these ads are not like 10 or 20 minutes long worth of ads. If they are, I apologize. I tried to sort it out. I don't know what else I can do to. But yeah, it's I don't mind helping anybody out. If somebody comes to me and says I really need some help, whatever it is, I'll do my utmost best to help. Like when Mick is flying, for instance, and I'll use this as a good example, kind of as an opposite to what I experienced when I worked in the dark room, where somebody would come in and say, "Oh, I don't have time to develop my film." Well, why is that my problem? I'm not. I don't get paid to do your work for you, And but see, when Mick is flying, right? I'm not touching any of the instruments on the A320 there. All I'm doing is saying, okay, at this point we should be doing this. When we take off, we got to get our initial altitude dialed in. We got to get everything kind of set up here. That's all I'm doing. I'm just a vocal guideline for him. He's doing the actual work. And see, when I tutored, that was the intent. Is I give a guideline. Okay, if you're writing a paper, this is the points that you're trying to make, for instance. Or if you're in beginning photo, these are the things this is what the instructor is looking for, right? Those sorts of things. I can't click the shutter button for you. I can't set the camera up for you. You have to do those things yourself. Mick can set up the plane. I just give him reminders along the way. Don't forget to do this, right? And sometimes people take that as I don't have any more knowledge than I think anybody else does when it comes to this stuff. There are people who have way more knowledge. Like Captain Arash, for instance, celestial navigating. I'm trying to read a book about celestial navigating, but it's a very intense. It's like a lot of information to sort of figure out, right? So I don't try to say or think that that I'm better than anybody else. I still make mistakes, Sometimes the sim will do something that we have to kind of counteract. Like if we're on a ILS approach, but the plane's not going to the appropriate altitude, well, then guess what? Now we got to do everything else manually. We can't rely on the systems. But I do all those things because part of it is Mick and I value each other as friends. If Mick didn't trust me to help him fly, he wouldn't ask me to do it, right? He wouldn't ask me to be in the voice chat to say, okay, Mick, we need to start reducing our altitude. Go from this request this much, and then once they clear you, that we need to, because then we're setting ourselves up for success, right? That's the key. If Mick didn't trust me, then I wouldn't be there, and but that's the value that we have as friends. Even though we've never met each other in life, we've only talked on Discord, we've only been in each other's streams for the past couple years, but I consider him to be my friend. He's my bro across the pond, as we like to call each other. He's my fire bro, to kind of use the language that kind of sets Pulse off. But I value him as my friend, and so if he says, hey, can you be there to help me, of course, if I can, I'll be there. Darn right I'll be there, because he values that time that we have together. I don't know why people have a hard time accepting that. That boggles my mind, that people get jealous about it or get all huffy, that's the best way. It's like why? I don't get it. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. And that's part of that social experiment. I'm an observer by nature, and I know people that it doesn't. Sometimes that does not sit well with people. That I'm a people watcher. I just kind of pay attention to what's going on, and I just watch. Like another not. I don't want to say that, Bex. It's just that. It's just something that it's like there's a what do you call it? There's a tremor in the force. Let's put it that way. But what was it? Oh, I know. So when I was, again, this goes back to my community college days. I know most people say, "Oh, community college, who cares? Somebody else is in the air near me." Oh, Rubber Duck and the Steerman. Welcome, Rubber Duck. Nice to see you. I'm sitting there, right, and there's like this mini cafeteria kind of thing. It had like coffee and pastries and sandwiches and sodas and chips and stuff like that, right? It was like a little cafeteria bar sort of thing in the building where my department was located. And so what happened was I'm sitting there and I'm talking to this kid, right? This kid who suddenly he decided he adopted me as his mentor. So we're sitting there talking, and I notice this student walking down the hallway carrying a garbage can that you would see in the classroom, like one of them small little, metal garbage cans. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, okay, he's walking towards us, and I'm thinking, okay, he's got the garbage can in his hand because he might get sick at any moment. And he doesn't want to get sick all over the floor, which, good for him for thinking like that he's not feeling well, and he's like, instead of causing a mess, I'm going to make a mess in the garbage can, which is easier to clean out than dealing with the floor and all that. And so I'm watching him, and I'm listening to this kid talking, and I'm like, yep, and I'm just kind of watching this guy, and so I'm like, something, hopefully he makes it, because he's kind of like hugging the wall, right? And so he comes and turns the corner, and I'm watching him still, and bam, he goes down and hits. I didn't see it at the time until I rushed over there, but he had hit, like there's that little half-dome doorstop thing that most buildings have, like in schools or business offices, like any kind of a doorway, it stops the door from hitting the wall or something, right? It's like, but it's bolted onto the floor. He hit his head on that, and at the same time, he was having an epileptic seizure. So I go over there, I get him on his side, so if he starts to vomit, then he won't drown in his vomit. And then I noticed he had hit it, and he had caused he cut his head pretty good by hitting that thing. And so I was trying to apply pressure and allow him to have his seizure, but also make sure that he was safe, that he wasn't going to, injure himself further. And the young kid who was talking the whole time, when that guy went down, I was over there like that. Now, that was part of my medic training. And he's still over there talking. And he told me, he said, I'm sitting here talking to you, and one minute I look over and you're sitting next to me, next minute I know you're over by this guy on the floor. Some of those habits never die, right? Now, I didn't try to do anything beyond my quote-unquote scope of practice, even though I didn't have a first aid card. All I had was my the things that I knew, right? And so I think about that. That's that part of that observationist in me, that when I see somebody that doesn't look like they're doing very well, ooh, you ever go get that meteor, Mick. Go dive into the English Channel and go get you a piece of that meteor. Maybe I'll give you some superpowers or something. But yeah, there's those things that, like I know of myself, but I'm always there's a saying that goes something like, they want you to do well, but never better than them. And that's what it kind of felt like when, I got the feeling that somebody was not, like there was just that gut feeling, right, of that people are something doesn't feel right. But it's not like it's a, what do you call it? It's not a, I'm trying to think of the word now. I lost my train of thought. I think my feelings are correct on the matter. But I don't want to say anything more than that. It's just, but it boggles my mind, that people perceive it as some sort of a, I don't know if it's like a threat against them, or I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I don't know. But it's like, well, if anybody has knowledge that you want to share, excuse me, by all means share it. But they're like, what was it, like when I did that flight to Tokyo from San Francisco, and that guy's like, well, you're at 42,000. Yeah, but the cruising altitude's 43. I'm just only 1,000 feet below that. I think I'm okay. Well, yeah, but like, okay, then what's the point? What different, what difference does it make? Honestly. Now, yeah, you could say, well, but, in theory, you should be flying at this or whatever. Yes, but it's a simulator. I'm still within the tolerance of where I should be. It's fine. I'm not flying with live traffic. I understand in the real world there's There's a whole lot of different things that happen when it comes to flying. But what it's but yeah, if somebody else thinks that they can do a better job, hey, go for it. By all means. My feelings aren't gonna be hurt. You know, it it's funny that I think about on over the weekend when Pulse was streaming and Joseph's like, oh, you should relax. Well, I'd like to, but I also am somebody trusts to help them. So I can't necessarily relax now, can I? You know, that's that's the that's the trade-off. You know, that's the difficult part. Is I trust me, if somebody has more knowledge and mix it, or even like, okay, let's use for today for instance, we're supposed to do the farm, but if Mick contacts me later this morning and says, hey, change of plans, Pulse and I are going to do something different, what point would it be for me to get all pissy about it with him? You know, if he changes something because he's like, well, we're going to do something else, or we're going to do the farm a different day. Okay, well but that's his prerogative, right? It wouldn't do me any good to say, well, then fine, I'm not coming into the stream and throw a fit. What would that do? It's not going to change Mick's mind, Oh, you know what, Rob? You're right. I'm sorry. We'll do the farm instead. I'll tell Pulse to piss off. That's okay, Bex. I know. But I don't relax because it's part of that value as friends. If somebody says, hey, like when Mick asked me, he wanted to do this thing for Iron Maiden, and I was like, cool, because I know he loves Iron Maiden first off, right? But I was like, it's fantastic because now I can help him do something that is replicating his favorite band's European tour this year. Of course I want to be a part of that because I know that's something that Mick is passionate about. So just go to the Joseph. That's like the pot calling the kettle black right there, my friend. Talking about somebody should just go with the flow sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. That is. Bless you, Joseph. Bless you. I just. That's not what I've been trying to say here. It's just that I guess what I've been trying to get at is when things become kind of clear, even though it's not like I'm not trying to denigrate anybody. There's people, like I love the fact that when I watch like Captain Arish's stream, I always learn something when I watch him. Whether I fly with him or not, I learn something. Same thing with Scruffy Tam. I learned something. Any day that I don't learn something, it's like, well, okay, did I really make the effort to learn anything, or did I just wake up and go like, I think I know enough today, right? But that's the thing is if anybody thought that they could help Mick better than I can, well, okay, then maybe go for it. You can give him your virtual CV and try to convince him that I'm the wrong choice, but it's at the end of the day, it's still his choice. And that's the key. So like when Nick and I are together, I learn one of the things I learn is how do I communicate the information to him in a timely manner, right? Because a lot of it is about time. That is one of the big keys of making sure that you do things in such a way that by the time you reach a certain point, you are where you should be, right? That's the key, you know. Um, but I have to, sometimes it's like, did I give him the information in an appropriate amount of time? You know. So, but that helps me that if somebody else says, "Hey, would you help me out in the same way that I helped Mick?" Yeah, I can do that. But see how Mick receives the information and processes it is not the same as a melamite, for instance. You know. So I have to change how I communicate that, possibly to the way a melamite receive the information. Or if Beck says, "Okay, I've got flight sim. Can you help me learn how to fly, Rob?" Yeah. So I have to learn how to help Beck's process. To give her the information at the appropriate time. You know. So, but I look at it like this. When Mick's flying and I'm giving him that information in a way, and I'm not trying to, I'm like a rock of Gibraltar for Mick. As long as I'm calm, but that's okay, Bex. It it's not about the amount how long it would take. It would be how do I help you understand when to do things. If it takes several times, or 70 times, or 700 times, that's not the point. It's more about if I know how to give you that information, that's all that matters. Because one of the things I learned as a tutor was everybody processes information differently. Some people have to be shown things. Some people just want just tell them what to do, and there's just enough times. I won't even know how to, but that's okay. That's not the point. So if I'm calm with Mick flying, right, or not while I'm flying, when he's flying, if I'm just sitting, because like when we take off at a certain point, once we're in the air, um, I I kind of just relax, because then that gives Mick the opportunity to interact with the chat. But then I know it. Okay, at a certain point here shortly, I'm going to have to start telling Mick, okay, we got to start doing these things, right? So I can be the rock, like a rock of Gibraltar for Mick, which allows him, he's not freaking out, right? And so then it correlates into how he interacts. And I know I'm sorry if I'm using big words here. It helps him interact better with the chat, because he's not stressing about flying and getting the plane up in the air going the right direction. But if I'm the chaotic storm in the middle of the ocean that's hitting the Rock of Gibraltar, it's going to show itself in how Mick is in the stream. He's not going to have he's not going to be able to uh, um, pay attention to the chat, right? Now I can be both at any given moment. I can be that I could be that Rock of Gibraltar, or I could be that storm. it's knowing when to be one or the other, you know. So, but again, it's about that value that I have with Mick to try to be that Rock of Gibraltar for him. That's what, you know. If I'm the chaotic storm, that's not going to do him any good at all. And when other things are happening that are chaotic, then it's almost like sometimes it's like, well, does a storm meet another storm and try to beat that storm? You know, not I would say beat, but try to get that storm redirected. You know, so I don't know. I just it's just again it's observations and there's times where my observations have been wrong, but I don't think I am. But it's funny that people can't be honest enough about their what do you call it, their 13 articles. All right, let me honest about their behavior, or you know what their intentions are, or whatever. I don't know. Sometimes I think not everybody knows their own intentions. But if the intentions are you're going to be chaotic, well, then I'm aware of it ahead of time, and I won't, you know. If I respond to it, you're not going to like the way I respond to it. That's the difference. But we'll see. We'll see what happens tonight on the farm. I'm looking forward to getting down there and getting some more stuff done. And like I said before, Mick and I have some other plans on a different thing, and we're going to continue the collaboration. And so yeah. I agree, Bex, and I think that's where I'm at now in my life. I could be the Rock of Gibraltar for a lot of people, but sometimes some people can't accept that for whatever reason. I don't know why, but some people will never accept that. And that's on them. That's not anything to do with me. You know, that's just how they are as people. You know. And so if a collaboration bothers you, that says more about you than it does me. You know, it really does. You know. So you know, like what point would it make if Bex and Mick are playing Astroneer? Why would I get upset about that? That's their thing, right? It wouldn't do me any good to get all jealous and pissy about it and go like, oh, Mick's not my friend anymore because he's playing a game with Bex, and oh my goodness. That's on you. That's not on anybody else, you know. If you feel that way. Bex had a ketchup sandwich made of ketchup and more ketchup. That's what Bex had for dinner. Or if Pulse was here, he'd probably say Bex probably had dry chicken for dinner. You guys missed it Saturday in Scruffy's stream. We got talking about cereal back in the day, all sugary cereal, and getting up on a Saturday morning and getting your bowl of sugary, like sugar pops, and sitting down in front of the TV and watching. You had 4 croissants and a slice of pizza. Oh my goodness, Bex. Were they small croissants or were they like the regular sized? Whew. That's a lot of bread. New potatoes, peas, and chicken topped with reggae sauce. That's so good. More croissants. Bex, that is one of those foods that Amela would. I think if Amela had to fight you for the croissants, that might not be a fair fight. So if you know when Abella's here, it does turn to food. If you buy a livery pack, do you also get the aircraft? No, you have to have the aircraft first. So if you, for like an A310 livery pack that I think F Soars or somebody's done a livery pack for the A310. It no, you don't get the aircraft with it unless the developer says explicitly if you buy, well, because most aircraft that sell, usually they have a pretty decent amount of liveries already included. But no, if you don't own the aircraft and you buy the livery pack, you don't get the aircraft with it. So, but thank you for the question in the chat there. Let me scroll back up here. Let me find the scroll bar. Canadian Hyper. Yeah. But most developers put in a decent livery group with their aircraft. Not always, but some do, some don't, and then you have to wait for somebody to create one. Just like the when the 747 came out with the game. Morning, Planet Neutral. How are you? Nice to see you here. Welcome. You're welcome, Canadian Hyper. I'm sorry. Yeah. When a lot of stuff came out initially, there was like these very bland liveries for a lot of aircraft. And I think Four Simmers was one of the, well, between them and Braddock were amongst the first to start getting liveries out for aircraft, for some of the aircraft. And the thing that I noticed is, so like when Four Simmers did liveries for the A320, they're not super expensive. Okay, take care, Bex. Nice to see you. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll catch you later, I'm sure. Somewhere, somehow. All right, 55 nautical miles here on this leg. Well, I think. See, I know that's part of like the deluxe. Forget which edition it goes with, but I don't know. I think they were trying to make it where you could buy individually. Um, See, I don't know, since I bought like the high-end edition when the game first came out. I don't know what their plan is on that. But I think they were trying. Uh, I thought they were trying to make it where you could buy it individually now. Now that we're going into a certain, it's been so many years since the sim is out now that they can maybe put it for sale in the marketplace. I don't know. I don't know if somebody else developed one outside of a Sobo for the sim. I'm not sure, but so yeah, either I'm guessing you've checked the marketplace and it's not there. So either you have to buy the highest end edition, which is like the premium deluxe or something like that. Because I think it goes base, premium, premium deluxe, and the premium deluxe has like the 747, the 787, and a couple more better airports or something like that. But yeah, I thought they were talking about doing that, but maybe they haven't done it yet. I swear I heard York talking about that, but maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe I'm thinking about something else, but yeah. Otherwise, yeah, you'd have to if you bought the livery pack for the 787, then you would have to find a way to buy the 787. Thank you for the follow, Canadian Hyper. Appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm not sure, but I thought they had talked about trying to do that where they would have you could buy it individually if you didn't want all the other stuff. But maybe that's something they're still working on. But maybe not. That could be something else, but yeah, that so are you on are you on the Xbox side, Canadian Hyper, or are you on the PC side? Because maybe on the PC side you have different options, possibly, because the marketplaces are a lot different. So there may be an option where you could get a 787 a different way because you're on PC. Possibly, I don't know. But if you're on the Xbox, you're kind of stuck. That's the drawback right now. We don't have all the bells and whistles that the PC side has. We don't have the option to buy anything outside of the marketplace right now, unfortunately, and we may never get that option, because then that takes revenue away from Microsoft. And they don't want to take away revenue. They want to keep adding revenue as much as possible, which I can understand. It's their business. That's what they want to do. But yeah, it's that's the drawback. If you're on the console, you're kind of stuck with options as far as aircraft go. But on the PC side, there may be an option where you could buy the 787 individually, but I'm not sure. You would have to find. I'm kind of guessing here, but because there's a lot of stuff on the PC side that I don't, because I'm on the console. I don't quite know all the particulars. I know that when people buy, when I see something coming out, like I know it's not going to be in the in-sim marketplace for quite some time, and so I don't get excited. I try not to get too excited about it. You know. Who's Rubber Duck? I thought I saw him. Where'd he go? He popped off. Oh, he must have landed. Thank you for flying along for a while, Rubber Duck. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Nice to have you along for a while. Yeah, if anybody wants to come in and fly, you could fly the whole thing the whole time with me. You could fly just a bit of it if you only can fly a leg or whatever of the flight. So, so yeah, that's the tricky part is that there's a lot of stuff we're still waiting for as far as the in sim marketplace. There's stuff that it's funny. Jorg talked about the Wilga, and then bam, there's the Wilga in the marketplace like that later that week. So but after that it was like, okay, we're back to normal now. No, you guys aren't getting anything. You're not getting anything nice. We gave you something nice. Now quit complaining. So anyway, that's okay. Oh, why does it seem like my dial is way off? But we'll see what happens this Thursday. I think my feeling is, this is just a feeling, and it's just my opinion. It's not, not saying anything solid here, but I kind of get the feeling that what's going to happen is once Sim Update 12 hits, now we are getting World Update, I think it's World Update 12 first. That's New Zealand. I think that's going to be here in the next week or two. And then we get Sim Update 12, which is supposed to be the WASM fix. Now that's supposed to be, I think, about mid-March. Beware the Ides of March, Beware. Once the WASM fix happens, and that's if everything goes well for that Sim Update 12, because I think either this week or next week they should announce the beta will be open for Sim Update 12, which I may or may not partake in, depending on what they say is what they're going to have us test. But should the WASM fix happen, as expected, then we'll start to see more stuff get released in the marketplace. But it's not going to be right away, I don't think. It's going to be maybe the rest of the year we'll finally start getting way more stuff pushed out. I think when last time that there was a developer Q&A, Jorg talked about the backlog, and I think the backlog isn't because the speculation is that the backlog is created because they just don't have enough people to push stuff out to the marketplace. I think the backlog is because a lot of stuff is just sitting there waiting for the WASM fix. I would say probably a vast majority of the aircraft that are waiting to be released for the Xbox is just sitting there in a queue waiting for the Watson fix to happen. That's all. That's the whole. That's all that they're waiting on. So hopefully, once that happens, we'll see a flood of updates for aircraft we already own, and a flood of aircraft in the marketplace that we never had a chance to try before. So I think from March to the end of 2023, we're going to see a lot of stuff for the Xbox side. That's, at least I hope that's the case. I'm still a firm believer that if the Wasm fix gets kicked down the road again to Sim Update 13, I kind of feel like that you're playing with fire at this point, because the Xbox community has been very patient for the most part in waiting for this thing to happen. And the longer they drag it out, for whatever reasons, I think at some point people are just going to be like, okay, enough is enough. And, but I could be wrong. And, some people might say, well, I still have enough stuff to fly that I'm not worried about getting the DC-6 or any of the 737s from PMDG. So there's a trade-off. Are people going to be satisfied with what they have enough to say, I'm not bothered by it? Or are some people going to be like, that's it, I'm burning my Xbox, and I'll never buy anything from Microsoft again. Not, I'm kind of being extreme there, I know, but it's it has taken, this time last year, Jorg was talking about the Wasm fix because of the whole DC-6 debacle. That's what brought this whole thing to light. And if they still can't figure out a reasonable fix for it, some people might say, well, it's okay, I don't need the DC-6 or the 737 from PMDG, because they have a lot of different ones. The 800 being the most popular, because as Captain Arash was saying last week when I was watching him, and I asked him which one would he recommend, he said the 800 is very popular because it's the one that most airliners fly still to this day. Some companies have never gone, they've had other aircraft that have kind of filled the gap, when like the 737 MAX was grounded, they've used something else to fly people around, but they didn't have I don't think they had a backup fleet of like Airbuses, because all their pilots have flown Boeing aircraft, and that's what they prefer. So, it's but I don't know. I've never seen a situation like this with any. I think we can go ahead and start dropping some altitude here. Let's go ahead and throttle back a little bit more and lose some altitude here. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. It's going to be interesting, one way or the other. It's going to be kind of a be interesting to see what transpires here in the next couple months. We're about almost a month away now from the expected release of Sim Update 12, but Jorg has said clearly that if they have to adjust that date, they will do so, but I think that's going to be dependent on, I think that's kind of like what happened with Sim Update 11, where there was an expected release and then it kept getting delayed because they were ready to release it, and then everybody who was beta testing said, no, why would you release it? None of this stuff has gotten fixed. And so they were kind of forced to kind of go like, okay, we won't release it then. So it pushed, everything kind of got a bit, it people were getting concerned whether it would impact the 40th anniversary stuff at that point. Because that's when we were told that the WASM fix was not coming in Sim Update 11. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, start losing some altitude here, and then we got 22, just under 23 nautical miles to our next nav point, and then we're going to turn again. We'll dial in that VOR DME right next to Columbia Regional, and we'll turn towards that. We'll continue to lose altitude, call in and let them know we're on our way, and get our landing instructions. If we have to enter a fly left base, then what we'll do is we'll fly over the airport and circle back around and come back in and line up on the pattern, and then we'll be on the ground. For those of you who are new to the channel, generally when I'm getting ready to land, especially in a plane like the Uyghurs, I tend to not look at the chat. So if you post a comment in the chat and I don't acknowledge it right away, do not take it as a slight against you. It's just I'm trying to get the plane on the ground. Once the plane is on the ground and it's under control, we're heading for our parking spot, I will catch up with the chat. So I just want to let you know how things work here on the Uncle B Sim channel. I was flying 4 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, leaving Tuesday open so that if I had an appointment during the week, I could, move the flight to Tuesday if necessary. I fractured my right humerus back almost a month ago now. Hard to believe it's been almost a month since that little hiccup happened in my life. So we're slowly getting back to things. So it may just be we do one flight, and then we'll kind of we'll keep adding days as I get my arms healing and get some physical therapy going and all that. But Mondays and Wednesdays we're doing the Uyghurs flights tour across America on Uyghurs 52. I flew this. I was flying the Fokker F7B on an old KLM route to former Dutch East Indies. But I didn't care too much for the way that the Fokker was flying, so I brought the Uyghurs back into service and really enjoyed it. So I thought, well, we'll do a flight across America. So we've gone all down along the East Coast, down to Florida, across the lower Gulf of Mexico, on into the West Coast, up the West Coast, and now we're kind of zigzagging our way back across America, trying to land in all the lower 48 states, and we're also trying to land in airports that we've not been to before. So that is that's something else I'm trying to do, is to go to places we've not been yet. So sometimes we land at the big airports, sometimes we land at these little regional airports. So all right, keep losing some more altitude here. So that's what we try to do. Thursdays we were doing a tour of Route 66. I completed that. And then Fridays we were doing a flight into Twin Beach in South America. And then alternate Fridays we were going to do jetliner services. And then I was going to try to do at least a couple Saturdays a month. I would do one long haul service and then in a jetliner, like with 747, and then another Saturday would be like a couple hours at a jetliner. So yeah, that's what I would do. Trying to mix it up a little bit if I can. But nice to have you all along. Scruffy Tim. Wonder if Scruffy's been lurking. He might be drinking his coffee and getting his day started. Scruffy, I hope you're well. If you're lurking, hopefully you have a good day. I missed Scruffy's stream last night. I've not been sleeping well because of this new splint. The plastic is not. I cannot find a position of comfort. I think I got used to having all that gauze wrapped around my arm, which was kind of like a cushion, and now I don't have that. And so sometimes, depending on how I lay in bed, I hit a button or something, and my arm just goes like, no. Yeah, my sleep has been a bit sporadic. Hey, Infidel Fireman. Yeah, I'm doing well. Just this cold weather is just, I thought it was bad with my knees, with the degeneration in both of my knees. But this is a whole nother level of arthritis. And it sucks. It really does. Because I'm taking 1,300 milligrams of Tylenol every 8 hours. And during the day, it's not so bad. But at night, when that temperature drops, oh, dude, it's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, it just, yeah. I think the surgeon's going to be at my appointment tomorrow when they take out the staples, and I'm going to tell him, like, Doc, just throw the bionic elbow in there. Can you lop off everything from the forearm down, from the elbow down, just get rid of it and put the bionic arm in there? Maybe that'll be a lot better for me. I don't know. And I can sim faster, better, and stronger. You don't have to spend the whole $6 million. Just make me the $3 million man? That's okay. I don't need the whole $6. That's an arm. It's just my elbow. Just put $3 million into it. It's okay. Oh, yeah. It's just. Oh, it sucks though. And it didn't help last night that when I was trying to go to sleep, everybody was watching the Super Bowl and they were all cursing at the TV and shouting way louder than they should have, probably, and yeah. So I'm like, oh, the referee must have made a call that fans of a certain team don't like, But nice to see you here as well, Little Fireman. Scruffy Tam's right hand man. That is Scruffy's Gibbo Ireland. you don't know who Two-Tone Murphy is, Gibbo is Two-Tone's right-hand man. Helps him keep the Two-Tone Murphy community going strong. Yeah, I know, but you're doing a great job. I think you're doing a great service for Scruffy, helping him getting things going, and with the Parasox Airlines. Matter of fact, today's flight is brought to you by Parasox Airlines. Parasox, just because you have a pair of socks does not mean they have to match. Scruffy will show you his mismatched socks on stream if you ask nicely. Yeah, I'm glad. If people enjoyed it, good for them. I just, it wasn't my, football has not been my thing for quite some time, and I used to be one of those people screaming at the top of my lungs at the TV during the regular season, the playoffs, and the Super Bowl, because it's just the pure idiocy of the referees is mind-boggling sometimes. You're welcome. No, I know Scruffy appreciates the stuff that you do, and that's awesome that you've helped him, kind of get, expand his horizons, so to speak, for lack of a better term, no pun intended. But yeah, that's awesome when people come together and create something like that, like Parasox and so I was going right. Because sometimes all it takes is somebody to make that suggestion and say, hey, I can help you with these things, and so yeah, exactly, and that's helped. I think that's definitely helped him, his stream grow, and getting more people involved. Like I feel, and this is no slight against Firefly Airlines, but like when I got into Firefly Airlines once, Viper Strike kind of helped me figure out how to navigate FS Hub. But being kind of on the ground floor of Parasox Airlines, I feel like I get more out of that than I do with Firefly. Like, I'll never catch up to the amount of miles that Viper has, because Viper flies like a lot. Hold on a second. Did I misread that? I think I did. Oh, it's supposed to be 193. Okay, yep, I did. I totally goofed that up. We can fix this. I looked at the wrong... Was it the wrong ambush site? So, so yeah, I think that's helped out, and I nothing, like nothing, like I said, nothing against Firefly Airlines, but like when I first got in there and I was like trying to understand how the whole thing worked, like I'm glad Scruffy set up a thing specifically for the airline on the Discord so that if anybody has issues, it can be addressed there. And oops, that's not what I wanted. All right, let's get our. There it is, right there. Look at that. Yes, there we go. Flying in straight 0. So that should be our runway right there. All right, let's get some flaps down. Ooh, let's get our landing lights on. There it is. I like it. All right, folks, here we go. So yeah, that's just one of the things that I noticed is that, and like I snuck a flight in, and then I was like, I haven't received my socks yet, and then Scruff's like, yeah, I think you were out of town or something, Infidel, and so I think Mr. Shies, he said Mr. Shies was having problems with his computer or something. So, but yeah, I love flying for Paris socks because I feel like I feel like that effort is valued. Not to say I'm not valued. It's like I'm just a fish in the sea, a smaller fish in the sea at Firefly, you know. But I feel like I'm, I'm on the ground, like I feel like my time is valued more at Paris socks. If that makes sense. My presence is valued, I guess I could say. I don't know. All right, folks, we'll be on the ground momentarily. Please leave your tray tables down in the unlocked position. Keep your seat back, fully reclined as much as possible, and leave your seatbelt unfastened. It's opposite Monday. So all the things that you would normally do if you were flying, do the opposite today. Why not? Let's see what happens, right? Except Joseph. Joseph, you got to follow the rules today, though. Unfortunately, we can't have you coming out your seat, floating in the air and all that. Maybe you're cleared to land runway 20. All right. Ooh, I gotta get the last bit of flaps. There we go. That's what I was missing. So the VOR DME is just off to the left side of the runway there. Looks like I'm all over the place today. Alright, let's get a little bit lower there. There we go. Farmland here. Here we go. Look at that nice open approach. Not a lot of stuff in the way. Don't have to clear a bunch of trees and then drop in last minute. I like it. Bump coming up. There we are. On behalf of myself and the entire flight crew, we'd like to welcome you to Columbia, Missouri. Local time is 7:30 in the morning. We understand and appreciate that last night some bowl of supper was played and somebody won it. If you're a Chiefs fan, congratulations. If you're an Eagles fan, I'm sorry for your luck. I think I can safely say, hopefully join me again next Monday as we depart from here and head to, let's see here, where are we heading to next? We are going to, Arkansas. Adams Field in Arkansas is our next destination, or Kansas as some people call it. Thank you. Yeah, I think it was a pretty good landing. Yeah, quite enjoyed that one. So yeah, hopefully next Monday. If not, it'll be sometime next week. I just don't know how, what days I'm going to have to go to physical therapy for however long they're going to abuse me for. And then, and all that. So, I will post in the Discord my, plans or whatever.
121.6 Lufthansa 040.
Turn that off. Stow that. And let's go here. 6. Parking, please, and thank you.
Lufthansa 040. Request taxi to parking.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Thank you, Mela. Take care. Enjoy your day. I will catch you later. So yeah, I already have that planned. I just don't know what day it's going to be. Hopefully, it's going to be Monday. But again, like I said, I don't know what the. I'm going to try to keep my physical therapy days the same, and hopefully with the same physical therapist throughout my time, so that I just feel better with that. Yeah, nice little airport here. So there we go. We'll go over here and park. Made it with more than enough fuel in the tank. That's good. It's always a good thing. In case we did have to fly over and then come back around for a left pattern entry, but it was a nice approach into the airport. Very easy to get onto the ground here. Not a drop at the last minute over a bunch of tall trees at the edge of the airport, so that helped out. So I'll be on later today with Mick on his farm. Looking forward to that. And uh, yeah, gotta, well, they love sending me to the fuel stand. What the heck? Why can't I just park somewhere where like a, you know what? We're not going to go to the fuel. Well, no, let me go because I want to make sure that it shuts down correctly and I get my hours and I can put them in on here with Parasox Airlines. Um, yeah, I would imagine regional jets probably can get in and out of here fairly easily. It does look like there's a spot for a couple, uh, either Embraers or CRJs. Probably fly you to St. Louis or Kansas City for a larger airport hub. Yeah, don't need that. All right, let's get our lights off. Engine shut down. But yeah, nice to have you all here today. Nice to see some familiar faces and some new faces. Hopefully you've enjoyed the flight. Hour 26. Wow, that was really good. Really good time. Let me just put that in and we'll wrap the stream up. Ooh, I'm a first officer with Parasox Airlines. Look at that. Fancy. It must be my swell. Oh, that's the other thing I was going to tell you all. If you don't really know, or if you're not familiar with me, if you look at the picture on here on Twitch of me, that was taken, I believe, if I remember correctly, that was in the radio studio when I took a radio production class, and everybody laughed when I would show up with, you know, t- shirt and tie and all that. And I always tell people, well, the funny thing is, that if I feel good, if I feel like I'm looking my best, even though I'm on radio, then uh, I'm going to feel more confident when I'm on the radio. You know, so that's uh, that's where that picture is from. All right, submit. There we go. I'll get the picture on there in a little bit. I always do that. I don't know why. You're welcome, Joseph. I don't know why you always thank me. It's just the stream. It's just virtual flying. That's all. But you're welcome, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, that'll do. I will see you all again soon. Stay tuned in the Discord. Once I know what my we'll continue our flight from here, or what we may do depending on how I feel after this week. Maybe we'll do a jetliner flight from Dallas to Miami. That's like a 2.5 hour flight. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that'll do it. I hopefully you have a great. And do remember tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Today's Valentine's Day Eve. Go out and try to find chocolate on sale. Save you a little bit of money. Otherwise, if you wait till tomorrow, they're probably going to mark it up. So, yeah, do enjoy the rest of your Monday morning, afternoon, evening, early Tuesday. For some folks, it's already Valentine's Day somewhere in the world. I have been and always shall be your host, the pilot Uncle B. Until next time, peace, live long and prosper.